I want to take a moment to speak with you about BetterHelp, a sponsor of the Katrina Johnson Show. You know I'm big on inspiring people to live their best lives. But sometimes we need a little more than words of inspiration. When mental health interferes with your daily routine and lifestyle, you need someone to confide in that can help you with sorting through your emotions. That's exactly what BetterHelp is all about. It's professional therapy done securely online and is available to clients worldwide. With BetterHelp, you can get your needs assessed and be matched with your own licensed professional therapist. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. Remember, living your best life begins with taking care of your mental health. BetterHelp, a sponsor of The Katrina Johnson Show, wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/KJ Show. That's BetterHelp, HELP, and join the over 500,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And here is a special offer for the Katrina Johnson Show listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/KJ Show. Welcome back to another episode of the Katrina Johnson Show. So happy to have you with me today. Remember to subscribe, share the podcast, leave comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, you can follow me online at katrinajohnson.online or on Instagram at I am Katrina Johnson. I thank you again for joining me, and let's get into the show. Veteran stand-up comedian, actor, and writer Willis Turner was raised mostly by his father and knew he wanted to be a comic at the age of 6 when he heard Red Fox's album playing on his father's record player. He still remembers how everyone in the room started laughing, and he said, "Whatever that man is doing, that's what I want to do." He has been able to perform his unique brand of comedy to sold-out audiences all over the world, from Inglewood to Edinburgh. Not only is Willis a multi-talented comedy performer, he has also written for some of the entertainment industry's top comedians such as Cat Williams, Faison Love, Sherry Shepherd, George Wallace, and Lonnie Love. Comic Willis Turner coming up. My guest today is Willis Turner. He is a comedian, and I'm so excited to have him on the show. And I hope you guys will enjoy this podcast because it is a good one. Willis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You are so very welcome. So we met last month at a local comedy show here in our area. You were the MC for that night, and
Yes.
you and the other comedians just had me cracking up. By the end of the night, my stomach was hurting. So thank you for that night of comedy. That was something, interestingly enough, I purposed to laugh that day. I remember waking up that morning saying to myself, I really want to laugh. So I was thinking about finding a funny movie or something like that. And then I got the alert on my phone that the sports lounge where you were performing, they were having comedy nights. So I immediately called my friend, asked her if she also got the text, because we're on the list, the text list or whatever you want to call it. And she had gotten it too. And so we decided to go and enjoy some laughs. And it was really a fun night. So it was really great meeting you. And, after meeting you, I said, I'm going to have him on my show. So welcome again.
Well, I was fun night. It was a fun night. It was just one of those nights of I I mean, I was filling in for someone and I was having such a great time. But it was a fun. You guys were a great audience. Great
Ah,
audience. and you had a great smile. You were sitting up front, which, most
Yes.
people are
And you know
afraid
what's
to.
funny? Yeah, what's funny about that? We didn't really want to sit up front because,
Mhm.
most comedians, they, pick on the people up front. So my friend kept saying, I don't want to sit up front. I said, I know, but I think we'll be okay. So it was great. It was great. Thanks for not picking on us.
Right. No, I don't. My stand up is never to attack the audience,
Uh-huh.
because I always see it as, you know, it's an unwritten contract. You come to laugh, I come to make you laugh. Right. So
Yeah, I
as
get it.
long as and as long as you don't attack me, I don't attack you in any
Awesome.
form.
Got it. Got
It-
it.
and I should have enough material. A comic should have enough material to where he doesn't have to talk about the audience
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
attack the audience. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's a good viewpoint. I like that. So tell us, how long have you been a comedian, Willis?
I have been a comedian for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And I started back in the days when we didn't have social media. I started when we didn't have, um, you know, you could to promote your shows, you had to hand out a flyer as opposed to go on the computer and send out emails or say, hey, this is where I'll be tonight, or this is where I'll be tomorrow, whatever.
Right, right.
And so I've been doing it, and I've gone a lot of places. I've,
Wow.
I've seen most of this country doing stand up,
Wow.
most of this country.
Yeah.
And I've been to places, I've been to North Dakota, South Dakota. And I would have never thought I was going to be in the Dakotas in my life if you had asked me when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
um, and I've gone to Europe doing stand up. I've gone to the Middle East. I've gone to I performed for the troops in Central America. I performed for the troops just any and everywhere, a lot of
Wow.
places. The Middle East. That was scary, hot, and fun.
Wow. You've had your you've had experience with a lot of different cultures. Your audience is pretty wide range.
Yes.
It is interesting how our journey will take us places we, never thought we would be. And I think that's kind of the excitement of it all. And like you were saying, yeah, back in the day, there was no technology.
No.
Flyers was it, word of mouth and flyers,
Right. If you
so
have one of my old business cards, you have my pager number on it.
is
That's
that
actually.
right? How funny. Yeah. That
And I
that
don't have a
goes
pager now, but
I know. Wow. Isn't that funny? So that's, I mean, technology now is so amazing
yeah,
because, all we have to do is pick up our phone, click a few buttons, and bam, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
is awesome. So you said you've been a comic for over 20 years.
Mhm.
Tell us about your younger self. Were you that class clown? Because when I was coming up, in middle school, what they call it now, we called it junior high. We always, for the eighth grade class, we vote the most popular to succeed, the most uh, best dressed, the shyest. And I was the shyest of the eighth grade girls. So I was voted the shyest of my eighth grade girl class. What were you the class clown?
uh, I wasn't the class clown, like in the typical sense. I was messing up so much in other areas. I was like, I shouldn't be funny or disrupt the class. So, because my teachers were, I was like, I got to be able to negotiate a better grade if,
Oh,
or, because I was always late to class. I was always, I was just, I wouldn't turn in homeworks when I was supposed to. So I was never in the class clown,
I
but
got you.
I was always watching and observing, and I would be funny, at times to time. I remember one time I went into a class in high school. It
Mhm.
was religion class, and I went to a predominantly all white high school,
Okay.
right? And that was, and I was like, well, and I described to them, and I asked, it was like everyone in there was white and it was religion. And I asked them, had they ever been to a Black church?
Mhm.
And none of them had ever been to a Black church.
Okay.
So I gave them the experience of a Black church.
Oh,
or and they were falling out laughing
oh my
because
goodness.
they were just, because I did the preacher voice. I was like,
Oh,
well,
yes, I remember that.
well, and we asked that you pray for Sister Mary.
Yes.
She,
I
and I
got
just
you.
I did that, and I was, because I used to do that like as a kid.
Uh-huh.
We would play games of, we're gonna play church, and so I always played the preacher.
Okay, so that was your role, the preacher.
Right. I'd always play. He was like, oh, as a kid, you play different things in life.
Yes.
You play church, you play
Right.
store,
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
Um, and so I played, and so it was easy for me to do the pastor. And then, I pretended to be the deacon,
Mhm.
pretended to be the choir. Um, I couldn't sing that well, but they didn't care. It was
Right.
just, I gave them the experience of a Black church without them having to go to a Black church. And
That's
and
awesome.
and they were like, oh my gosh, can you do that again? And I was like, yeah, I guess. Uh,
How funny. Yeah,
and so yeah, I wasn't the quintessential class clown, but everyone knew I was funny.
right.
They knew I
Had it.
was funny.
They knew you had it. You had that in you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. That's great. And it is a lot of times at our young age, we discover our gifts and our talents, you know. Some of
Yeah.
us are very fortunate to find out what that is. And it's when someone tells us, like, your friends said, can you do that again? That was like confirmation to you. That was validation that you have a way of bringing laughter, to people. And that builds confidence, in what you're
Yeah.
doing. So I'm sure that kind of inspired you a little bit to,
Well, I knew I wanted to be a comic at a really young age. I knew I
okay.
wanted to be a comic when I
Yeah.
was probably about 6 or 7 years old.
Wow. Okay. That's
My,
awesome.
I'll tell you the quick story real quick. My dad was they were listening to comedy albums, and
Uh-huh.
I was supposed to be sick. And I
Okay.
was listening around the corner. I was sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but you know how I got up and I'm hearing all this noise because when I went to sleep, it was nobody in the house but my dad. And then I wake up and I hear all these people, different voices talking. So I wake up to try to go around, and it's night, and I hear drinks clinking up against each other and all
Yeah.
this other stuff. And so peek, I kind of peeked my head around the corner, and they're listening to an album, a
Mhm.
comedy album. And he says the punchline,
Yeah.
everyone starts laughing. And I go, I don't know what that man is doing. I don't know what they're listening to or what that is,
Yes.
but whatever it is, that's what I want to do.
Ah, that's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna ask you, I was gonna say, I know a lot of people want to become famous, and that's why they get into the entertainment industry. So I
Mhm.
was gonna ask you what inspired you to become a comedian, but you just answered it.
Yeah. And and it's funny because when I told my mom, so when I was like 14, I left about 15. I was 15 years old, 15, 16. I wasn't living with my dad anymore. I was living with my mom.
Uh-huh.
And I told my mom, we were cleaning the house that day.
Uh-huh.
And I go, Mom, I want to be a comedian. And she goes, boy, you getting a real job. You ain't getting no
A real job. You're not
right,
gonna
right.
just go around making people laugh.
Right. You ain't gonna be telling no jokes. You get a real job. You going to school and get you a real job. So, and she got it all up in my face about it too. And I was like, well, note to self, don't tell mom.
That is the yes, that's the wisdom of a mom, the
Right.
dream of a mom. But I mean, in the end, we
Yes.
want to do what we are passionate about. And so how is your mom, or how does she feel now about the fact that you're a comedian?
She loves it. You know, she was, it's funny because when I first started, I didn't tell her I was doing stand-up. And I had moved back home at the time.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I just lost my job.
Yeah,
just
life
got laid
happened, I'm
off.
sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I, all of a sudden, and she thought I was going back to school.
Mhm.
And you know, at first I was, and then I was like, eh. But then I started doing stand up. And so I would leave the house early in the morning, come back late at night. And she was like, what's going on? Then all of a sudden she's, you know, she thought I was either, she's a typical Southern mom, church mom.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, this can't be right. You know,
Yeah.
she goes, you ain't doing drugs, are you? I go, what? No. And so she thought I was doing drugs. She called my dad, says, you need to talk to your son. I think he's doing drugs. I go, I'm not doing drugs, mom. I'm just, and then I just didn't want to tell her because I
Right.
didn't want anyone to know until I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
And so, but she was really proud. My mom has my mom has passed.
I'm
A few
sorry
years
to
ago,
hear
she
that.
passed. No, thank you for that. I'm over it now, thank God, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Not over it, but I can talk about it.
I get you. I get you. I get you. I understand.
That sounds crazy. Oh, I'm over it. You know how
No,
mamas go.
no,
They
no. I
leave
get,
us.
I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, my mom passed in
Yeah.
2004, and it was a
Yeah.
rough time. You know,
Yeah.
it's never easy when someone close to us passed, especially our moms. But
Right.
we heal over time, so
Yeah.
it's a good thing you've done that. So tell us, who is your favorite comedian
Of all times,
of all times? G-O-A-T.
Richard Pryor.
Richard
Richard
Pryor. Okay.
And this is the reason I say Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor revealed more about himself to us than any comic has ever revealed to us. And we've had great comics and funny comics, but Richard revealed a lot of who he is on stage. As opposed to, like, Dave Chappelle, I think is really funny, really good, but he doesn't reveal a lot about who he is on stage.
So you think that matters when a comedian is revealing, being transparent within their delivery of their jokes?
It's, I don't know if it's important, but you should always leave. I feel like as a comic, you should leave the audience knowing more about you when you get off stage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, like for me, people know who I am when I get off stage. You know, kind of the kind of person I am.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like engaging with your audience and connecting with them, because what you're sharing in terms of jokes should be relatable for people in order to grasp, laugh, right? That relatability, I think, is very important. Yeah.
And I don't take, to me, I think Dave Chappelle is one of the greats. He is one of the greatest comics still. He's, you know, he's still, I would say, top 10 comics.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you've seen comics and you know a little less about them before they got on stage than, you know less about them after they get off stage than you did before they went on stage.
Right. Yes, that's so true.
You know, and it's, to me as a comic, my job is not only to show you about this world, but also to show you about myself and how I relate to this world.
Right. Absolutely.
And and not only how I relate to this world, but do you see why I relate to the world like this? You
Mm,
know,
that's good. That's good.
uh,
Because,
a lot of times, because some people don't, you know, I I don't. It's not to bash any other comics and how they the type of comedy that they do. It's some comics are prop comics, some comics are uh one-liner comics, and that's great. That's just not what I do, or I like my audience to know who I am,
uh-huh,
because I want them to feel like they're taking a part of me home with them,
right, right,
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
because the comics that I enjoyed to watch and I loved were comics that were you took home with you. Richard
Mm-hmm.
Pryor, you took home with you.
Mm.
George Carlin, you
Oh,
took
he's
home
another
with
good
you.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lenny Bruce, you took home with you. Um, Even Dave Chappelle, you take home with you,
Yeah.
you know. And also um, one of the comics that I love, Ricky Harris. He's passed, but
Mm.
he's one of the comics that when I first started, I used to watch and be like, man, if I could be like him,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Awesome.
Um, in this, you know, uh, just it's so many comics,
Right.
Eddie Griffin,
That's
you
another one.
know,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
take home with you
Right.
now. And so, and I've worked with a lot of the comics. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of the comics I've talked about. I'd
Mhm.
never worked with Richard Pryor.
Yeah, that was, he was like when you were younger, and but if you had your chance now, I'm sure you would, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he is definitely, yeah, I think he is the greatest of all time. I think because back in the day, when you thought about comedians, you thought
yeah,
about him. That was it. It was like
yes,
he was it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and Bill Cosby as a comic.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
I know as a comic, he was great. Now,
Yeah.
I never had to get a Uber ride from him, but
Right. I got you. Ah, yes, yes.
but
Yeah.
he as a comic, you sat and watched. Like I listened to one of his albums. The first time I listened to one of his albums, I was like, oh my gosh, he is actually a great storyteller
Mm,
as a comic.
yes.
As a person, that now that leaves a lot
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
I get you.
to want,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
But as a comic, and I think
But
telling stories, everybody wants to hear a good story.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's so funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So it's funny how I start to think about all these great comics and what they've put into me
Mm,
and what I'm then able to put out.
yes.
Wow.
Yes. So you're listening over the years to these great comics was like an impartation, and it just added to your natural gift to make people laugh. You learn. That's how we learn, right? We learn
Yes.
from the greats. It's like
Yes.
there's a saying, don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically, instead of recreating something, just follow the success of others. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, following
Yes.
the success of others, and that success leaves trails
Yes.
or leaves clues or whatever. I'm not saying it right, but you get what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. And
Yeah.
it's essentially is if you take from the greats and you make it your own,
Mm, yes.
like that's what
Right.
I would a lot of times I laugh when people go, oh man, I'm about to reinvent comedy. I'm like, you won't reinvent it.
Yeah. Right. It's already been invented. Yeah.
Yeah,
Learn from it and just
yeah,
add
learn.
your piece to it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly. And on that note, people that are looking to start in the career of being a comic, what should they consider? Like, what are some things a person,
How much pain they can take.
the pain, okay. And what kind of pain are we talking about? The rejection, what?
All of it.
Oh,
Financial pain, emotional pain, just
wow.
you know,
Yeah.
but it's
Got it.
but it's all for stand up.
Mhm.
It's all for stand up.
For the love of it.
For the love. You stand up is one thing you have to love to do.
Mhm.
If you really are considering being a stand up comic, you have to love doing it, because in the beginning, unlike any other profession or anything else, you don't make a lot of money. You
Mhm.
don't, and you have to do it a lot. Like, I know people who are like, oh, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy, and they go, I'll go up like once a month. And I'm like, then you'll never get good.
Mm.
You'll never get good.
Yeah.
Once a month will never allow you to become a good comic.
Mm.
You'll be able to entertain your friend. You'll be a better public speaker than most of your friends,
Right.
but you'll never be a comic,
Right. Right.
because you have to perform no less than 3 times a week.
Mm.
And when you're starting out, when I first started, I'd always tell people, if you looked at what I did when I first started out, you would go, I can't believe you did that. Like, I performed 6 nights a week.
What?
Yes, 6 nights a week, sometimes 2 and 3 shows a day.
Wow.
And I would stay out till 2, 3 in the morning, come home. And when I first started, I would sleep like 3 hours a day during the week.
Wow.
And
Three
then on the
hours a
week,
day
yes,
during the
because
week.
I was trying to go to school too at first.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
was going to school, wake up, I'd go home, and I lived in Orange County. So essentially I would drive an hour into LA,
Mm.
or, and then have to drive back from
Wow.
LA to, and then do all my work with school, do all my, classes,
Yes.
homework, blah, 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 blah. And then try to figure out, sleep wise,
Mhm.
work wise. And then on the weekends, I would just crash. Like
Wow.
Sunday, from Saturday night to Sunday, I would sleep till 1 o'clock,
Wow.
Sunday afternoon.
Wow. That's a lot, but you were putting in the work, and
Yeah.
that's key. You have to put the work in. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
important to success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's, that's what you have to do
Mhm.
as a comic. You know, working hard is mandatory, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just one of those things.
Yeah. So you don't want to do it if you don't love it. If
Right.
you love it, then you will take as much time to perfect your craft. You'll put the work in, and for the love of it. That's it. I think that's the way it is for most things in life. The things that we really love to do, whether it's being a comic or anything, whatever it is you love, you'll just put everything into doing that, and then at some point, it doesn't even feel like work.
No.
Yeah.
And really, it becomes, it's not even work, because of the camaraderie, friendships, and there's still friendships I have to this day from doing stand-up.
Wow. That's cool.
And some of them are still doing stand-up, and some of them aren't, but
Mhm.
we still have the friendships, the
Right.
laughs. uh let's see, like, I would say one friend that that everyone knows, is Lonnie Love, or a lot of
Mhm,
people know,
mhm,
and Sherry Shepherd.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Oh,
George
um,
Wallace is a friend,
okay.
which is amazing to say that he's a friend. So when I talk to on a regular
Awesome.
basis,
That is so awesome. That connecting with your peers and keeping in touch. I think that helps you to stay inspired, for
yeah,
both sides,
yeah,
inspiring each other, encouraging each other, and that's supporting each other. That's needed, especially in the entertainment industry. And you mentioned some of these comedians that you've met over the years and are still friends with. Um, my next question, do you write your own material? And do you write for other comedians, like for some of these comedians that you just mentioned?
I yes to both of those questions. I
Okay.
do write my own material. Um, I because I write incessantly.
Okay.
I I don't, I used to, people used to get mad and say, well, they've stolen my material. And the reason I write that much is one guy told me they can only steal it as fast as you write it. So if you
Mm,
write faster, they can't steal as much as you write.
wow.
And if you keep, you know, you don't wait till your well runs dry.
Uh-huh.
But if you keep digging, you're going to always hit water somehow, somewhere.
Right. Right. So consistency pays off.
Yes,
That's
I constantly write.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And also doing some research uh, to prepare for this podcast, I discovered that you do other types of writing. Is that right?
Yes,
You do film
yeah.
writing or
I've written scripts. I write scripts,
awesome.
and one of my I started writing also poetry because of one of my favorite comics, Red Fox, says he writes poetry,
Oh
and
yeah.
so I just started doing it.
I
Uh,
never knew that about Red Fox.
yeah, he wrote poetry,
Okay.
uh, and so I always like to study. So I started writing poetry, and I've written a couple of scripts,
Mhm,
and I punched up a lot of scripts,
mhm.
to make them funnier. Because a lot of
Right.
times when you get scripts, they're not funny.
Uh-huh. So you have to
Even though
edit.
they're
You have to
supposed
do.
to be a comedy, they're not
Okay.
funny.
So you're reading a script and it's like, this is
This
not
is
funny. Let me
right.
just add some flavor, right?
Yes, has some flavor in your ear. Is I laugh because you always go, where did they think this was funny?
Right.
You know, um, and people, well, a lot of times people go, well, they'll make it funny when I was like, you can't, if you make it funny on the paper, when they get it in front of the camera, it's going to be easy to make this funny.
Yes.
That if it's funny on paper,
Right.
but
Right.
if it's not funny on paper, it's going to be really hard,
Yes.
and you're going to have to really hope that this person can pull this off.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. So as a comedian, we
Mhm.
talked earlier about you need to love what you're doing, you know, and be consistent. But and you spoke a little bit about some challenges, but what are your biggest challenges? And more importantly, how do you overcome the challenges as a comedian?
um, wow, my biggest challenges outside of my my biggest challenge isn't on stage. It's always off stage.
Okay, that's real talk.
Uh, yeah. Um, my biggest challenge is one, trying to be a dad at
Mhm.
times.
Okay.
um, Trying to maintain a relationship of
Uh-huh.
any kind,
Okay.
uh, and be there, and they're happy, and
Uh-huh.
because they're usually not happy,
Right.
because as a comic, I'm on the road a lot or out of town or at a club. Because as a comic, the times when you would do like, say, Valentine's Day, all these holidays or celebration times,
Mhm.
is when they have shows. So
Oh, yes.
you have to figure out like, okay, yeah, baby, I love you, but can we go out on the 13th? Because I
Yeah.
have a show on the 14th,
Right. Yes.
or can we go out on the 15th? Uh, you know, can we do, I've had Christmas shows, I've had like, or New Year's Eve.
Hmm. That
I've had
must be a
shows
big
on,
holiday. I mean, yeah, one of those big ones, right? That you're
yeah.
busy. Mhm.
And I'm doing a show. You do a show on New Year's Eve because it's a great payday,
Right.
you know.
So you're
But
just, yeah.
those are challenges, and you have to have conversations with people,
Mm.
with and conversation, and be honest with yourself. And that's really the biggest challenge, is relationships
Mhm.
outside of stage,
Right. That
or
makes sense.
entertainment.
And
That
it's,
was
you have to be with someone that can truly understand
yes.
that this is who you are, and knowing that from the beginning. That's where choices come in, because I'm so big on choices.
Yeah.
We all are given the free will to make decisions. And so when you know something from the start, sometimes we say, okay, yeah, I can deal with that. But as time goes on, you
Yeah.
find, oh, this is tougher than I thought. So I think it's important what you said, though, that it's um, just talking about it, just communicating about it, trying to
Yeah.
work it out, being upfront, you know, and coming up with solutions so that no one's left out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get it. I
Indeed.
get it.
And you always, as long as you come up with solutions, and no one is feeling like, oh, you're not hearing me,
Mhm.
you're not, or I don't, it's clearly understood. And
Right,
that's really what you want. You want to be clearly understood.
right, right. Clarification is key. Clear communication is key, not only in our personal lives, but in business. I just think that's one of the things that we are forever learning. I don't think we get it right all the time, or some of the time. I mean, communication is key. And as long as two people can communicate, I think that you're halfway there. But if you got one person wanting to communicate and the other person doesn't, then there's a big problem with that. And so, yeah, being able to communicate
And
is
I'll
key.
say this, in business, from the business side of stand-up comedy, the hardest part is getting in front of the right people. That's
Mm.
that, and hard, the right people, meaning the people that get you,
Ah,
because you could be in front of a producer that doesn't get you, or they're like, I hear I should work with you, but they don't get you. You know what I
mm,
mean? And so
ah,
they don't know what to do with you.
I
And
see.
so they just sit there and go, well, I don't get you. I don't see why I'm even talking to
Is that right? Does that
you.
really
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's more like being able to resonate with
Yeah.
you, with your brand, your jokes or whatever,
Yes.
connecting with you on that level. And
On
if
that.
if a
Yes.
producer can't connect with you, then it makes it difficult to work with them, huh?
Yeah. It makes it
Interesting.
very difficult.
Wow.
You know, um, it's, and you just kind of go, well, okay, well, yeah, you're right. Why am I here?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as a comedian, you enjoy making people laugh. We've been talking about that. Do you consider laughter to be something that people should partake in often? And if so, why?
Um, I do think it's something they should partake in often. Uh, One reason I would say is it helps the spirit. Like you can't be in a bad
Amen.
place if you're laughing.
I must say that's
Two,
scripture, because it says Laughter is good for the soul in the Bible.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And two, I'll say it helps me because then that means you're coming out to see me perform.
Of course.
So, and you coming out to see me perform allows me to get in more clubs. So,
Right, right. Absolutely.
uh,
That's awesome. And so I know that studies show that some comedians some comedians tell jokes to relieve anxiety. Is telling jokes a form of some type of relief for you?
um, yes, it is.
Mhm.
It is a release, and also it allows me to. It's therapeutic,
Mm.
and not in the form of I'm going to tell you like, well, you know, stuff I should only be telling a therapist.
Right,
But
right, right.
and you're like, wow, this went from a comedy show to
A therapy session.
a therapy session. Like, you know, it's like, but it is therapeutic that you can get it off your chest. And it's almost like, you know what comedy is? Imagine if you could tell your boss off and he couldn't fire
Ooh,
you.
ooh. I know that resonated with a lot of people.
You're like, I get to tell my boss off and he can't fire me? Nope. Well, sign me up.
I know. That I know that resonated with a lot of people. Yeah. And I think that's true. The gift of comedy is like like you said earlier, is, you share a part of who you are. And when people can relate to that, that means makes all the difference in the world. That's how you build your followers, your audience, because they're saying, wait a minute, Willis, he's just a real person. He has experienced some things, and that joke there, that's real to me, and I can relate to that. So that's awesome. And
And I should know because I've been fired a lot.
okay. So you know firsthand. Yeah, that's something. But yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. So okay, I want to talk about something that we'll never forget: the 2022 Oscars and what happened to Chris Rock. What are your thoughts about that and the recent stage bombarding during Dave Chappelle's show?
Well, I think what ended up happening, and the unfortunate part, is that Will Smith let people feel like they can walk on a stage if someone says something they don't like
Yes.
as a comic, and just it's a joke, and slap them or attack them or berate them or in any form of however you want to see it.
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, it would have been one thing him yelling out, hey, don't talk about my wife.
Right.
It's another thing to walk up to someone and assault them. Essentially, it's assault, right?
Yeah.
And I think Chris handled it like a true professional. Like he made a joke out of it. He didn't sit up there and all of a sudden now you see two guys fighting each other on stage. And with all the other comics that have been, getting attacked and people rushing up onto the stage.
Has there been more? I just knew about the Dave Chappelle one.
There's been a couple of other people have gotten,
wow.
People walk up on the stage and say something or do something to them. And I'll tell you, where I come from is, you walk up on the stage on me. If it wasn't rehearsed before we got there.
Okay. I got you. Yeah. That was really, that was
I'm
really...
telling you, you walk up on the stage on me, I don't react well.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just say that I don't react. I wouldn't react well I'm like, whoa, we didn't rehearse this. Don't
Mm,
walk up here.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I just think Chris Rock, that was like, I think just thinking about that, I'm like, wow, he handled that, like you said, like a real trooper.
Yeah,
And it's a blessing that things didn't go get any worse than that, because it could have, if anybody else was on that stage, that could
right.
have gone a whole different direction. So, and most, I've heard other comics say exactly what you said, and that's human nature, like to react.
Yeah,
That's like defense mode. That's like, wait a minute, that's, you know, fight or flight,
right.
flee or whatever. So, hey, I think it's unfortunate that that happened, because that did set a bad example of, um,
What
to,
you should do or what you
yeah,
can do.
exactly. And now
And a
giving
lot,
people that,
and people are just now taking up on themselves. Look, Will Smith was lucky he didn't get charged with assault and didn't get arrested.
exactly,
Uh, Other people are going to get arrested.
exactly.
Most of you are not Will Smith. The
Mm,
last I checked,
yep,
there's only one Will Smith.
exactly. So you guys need to check yourselves before you think about taking a step on the stage,
Yes,
because it may not go down like it did with Chris Rock. Yeah,
right.
that.
And realize this, some comics used to do things other than tell jokes before they started being a
Okay, that's
comic.
right. That's right. Absolutely. So yes, I get it. I think if I remember reading something, Chris Rock's brother, the other comic, I can't think of his name. Anyways, I think he was saying, if that had been me, it
Right.
would not have gone down like that. But yeah,
His
much
brother
respect for
Tony
him.
Rock.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
much respect for Chris Rock though, and I just hope that people will take heed to not feel like they can just do something like that. That's not part of the wasn't part of the plan. So,
Yeah.
what motivates you to keep striving as a comedian?
Um, I want more out of this. I do want my own show.
Mm,
I do want to perform in front of tens of thousands,
mm,
hundreds of thousands, thousands of thousands,
yes.
you know, of people. I want to, I feel like I have more to say. Um, I have, I like creating.
Yes. Right.
I want to not only have my own TV show and my own special and my own, a lot of my own stuff.
Mhm.
I would like to be able to put people in a position to get their stuff going.
Mm, get
And
down and help someone
that
else.
is a good thing.
That is a good thing. And well, you have everything it takes to have your own show, because like I said, seeing you perform, it was awesome. And you have everything. You have the complete package. It's just that opportunity, and your mindset is that I want to continue. You want to continue to grow in your craft.
Yes.
You want to continue to create. And that with that, there is no limit. And I believe that, because I'm big on mindset and growth mindset. And a lot of people, they just stop at a certain point in their life, right? If they've
Right.
been in the entertainment industry for a while and nothing's happened, and they want to just give up. No, you don't give up. If you're a creator and if you're gifted at something, then keep doing your craft. That's how I feel.
Yes.
And so,
And you should,
exactly.
because a lot of times people stop and they think, it's almost I've seen that picture of the guy in the mine digging for diamonds,
Mhm.
and he gives up 3 inches before he hits the
Oh,
last, and he's
I
about to hit
remember
the,
that movie.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It is just, why you give up. A buddy of mine is another comic. He goes, there is no plan B.
Mm.
You know, and I get some people like, well, you got to have a plan B.
Mm.
And one guy says, well, if you got a plan B, that means plan A is really bad.
Wow, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And that's not to tell people not to plan for failure or not to plan to pivot,
Mhm.
but you shouldn't be thinking about a plan B.
Right, because it's right before, like if you give up, sometimes you're just a step away from what you are trying to achieve,
Yeah,
and but you would never know. Just like you said, that digging of the diamond or the gold or whatever it was.
right,
Uh, yeah, so sometimes you don't know when you're ready to give up. It could be right before your breakthrough.
right before.
Right.
And when you
So
have that breakthrough, you
yeah.
you wouldn't imagine the world you step into. I mean, I can't even imagine if things were to happen for me right now, it's like just crazy.
Mhm.
Uh uh I just would I literally would just go, oh my God. And I would be like a kid in a candy store
Yeah.
and just with the excitement. And you would be like, will he act like he's been here before? Like, but even and with each success, to me, there should be an enthusiasm. Like if I won 2 Oscars, the first Oscar is great. The second Oscar, I was act like it was just my first,
First one. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Appreciate your wins, celebrate your wins.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
You
So
should
what,
always celebrate.
absolutely, even the small ones,
Yes. Yes.
and be grateful. I
Yes.
think gratitude goes a long way because you can't stay negative and doubtful. I mean, we do get doubtful, don't get me wrong, we're
Yeah.
human, but if you
Yes.
stay in that state of gratitude, that just, it just
Yeah.
puts you in a position to receive more,
To
of what you
receive more.
want.
One guy taught me about appreciation, and he wasn't trying to teach me about appreciation, but he taught me about appreciation. And I'll tell you this quick story real quick. Uh, I was driving in LA and it was raining, and I saw this guy rushing. He probably was about rushing to catch a bus. He was an older gentleman, uh, I think Mexican, and he was rushing to catch his bus and he just missed it and it was raining. And I
Oh,
go, I wasn't in any rush to anywhere. So I go, hey, I can catch you up to your bus. And he jumps in the car with me and I go to catch him up. I go, you know what? Because he says he needs to catch that bus so that he can make it to his next bus on
mhm.
time. And I go, you know what? I'll take you to the bus you're trying to get to so that you can get home. And I drove him all the way there. And it wasn't like it was 10 or 15 miles out of the way. It was just, it was maybe 5 minutes out of my way.
Uh-huh.
And I took him, and when I dropped him off, he shook my hand in such a way that I was like, it's just a ride. To me, it was just a ride.
Right, but he was so appreciative.
He was so appreciative. He didn't have to wait in the rain like he did
Yes.
for the next bus,
And
or
most,
would have.
yeah, and most people wouldn't have offered.
No.
Yeah. So
And a lot of people did just drive by, but I was just like, I wasn't in a rush.
Mhm, mhm.
Here's a man in a need. Why
Yeah,
not?
right, right. And that
It,
type of thing comes back to you.
yeah, I mean, we're all human, and really what we have and what we want is just we connect as humans. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
right.
we're just moving. And so this guy was so appreciative. He shook my hand and he was like, oh, and I was like, oh my gosh. Me helping him the way he was moved me
Yeah, that's
way
great.
more than I ever moved him.
Wow.
It shifted my paradigm.
Yes, that happens when you do something for others. I've had those experiences. Yeah, it just makes you, as the giver of whatever you did,
Yes.
it puts you in that state of like awesomeness, like, wow, I'm glad I was able to do this for this person.
Yes.
You know, I get what you're saying. I've experienced that on several occasions.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah. So,
and
oh, go ahead. Mhm.
uh, and I went home and I was just in awe of that. Like
Yeah.
even now, think talking about it, I get it inspires me.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to give my money to the homeless? No, I'm not.
I get you.
I'll help the homeless, but I ain't giving all my money to the
I get you.
homeless.
I get you. But yeah, I think it goes back to those small acts of kindness, those
Yeah,
considering others. And like you said, we are all connected in some kind of way. We're human, right?
yeah,
We
yes,
all bleed the same. We're people. We should have some type of empathy and compassion for others. And it doesn't mean we have to go out there and, give the homeless all our money, because a lot of them are out there, some of them, or maybe a lot of them are out there just scamming too. I've seen that as well,
yes,
but, or, maybe they're on drugs and you're feeding into that. But no,
yes,
it's those acts of kindness, those small things that you do for people, everyday things.
yes, yes. And that's that's the blessing of being human and being open. That's what when you're open,
Mhm.
to me, you really start to make and to me, yeah, that's
Yeah, you made an impact on his life, but he made an impact on yours as well.
yes, yes,
Yep, it was reciprocated. So,
yes.
what would you say you're most proud of in your career thus far?
As a comic, my
Mhm.
most proud moment has been to the first time I got in front of over 1,000 people, performed on stage in front of over 1,000 people.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, and to also write jokes for some of the people that I've written for, those
Mhm.
are, you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. I was going to ask you for some tips for people who are seeking to get into comedy, but you kind of went over that earlier. So
Yeah.
we don't have to go there. At this time, what I like, Willis, this is,
Well, can I tell you this
yes, you
one
can.
tip? I'd give one tip to anybody who's wants to do stand up or get into stand up. If you're in LA or out of a major city or whatever, find your local comedy club. They have an open mic. Go
Mm,
to an open mic
mm.
and get good, really good there before you go into a bigger market and find yourself overwhelmed.
All right. That's a good tip, anybody who's seeking to get into comedy. Find a comedy club in your area, open mic night. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that tip. At this time, what words of inspiration and encouragement can you share with our listeners? It may be a person maybe in the entertainment industry or wanting to, it doesn't matter. They're trying to pursue their dreams. No matter what the dream is, what words of inspiration can you share?
I would say this, if you, whatever your dream is, make it bigger.
Ooh, dream big.
Dream big.
That's it. Say less, make it bigger. Thank you so much. I hope that resonated with somebody out there. It did with me. And I was just listening to a podcast earlier, or watching a video earlier on YouTube, and the person was basically saying that very same thing. Yeah, you got to dream big.
Dream big.
Right. So this is the time where you can let everybody know of any upcoming shows you have, where people can find more out about you or book you for stand-up shows.
You can find out about me on Instagram. You can reach me at the real Willis Turner. The real Willis Turner on Instagram. Don't go to Willis Turner Comedy. I got hacked, and someone else is controlling that account. and
Oh,
and
I hate when-
Yes, and if you go to Willis, that if you see that one, that is they're gonna try to get you to buy Bitcoin. I'm not. I don't sell Bitcoin.
The comedian, guys, he's not a Bitcoin miner or whatever they are.
No, I'm not. I tell jokes. I don't mind for Bitcoin.
Okay.
So go to The Real Willis Turner on Instagram and Willis Turner on Facebook. In the skinny black guy, not the fat black guy. That's my dad.
Okay. And do you have any shows coming up?
I do. I have a show in Bellflower coming up this weekend.
Oh,
And then I'm going to be in Sacramento in August. And then I have some more shows coming up. But if other shows, I put them all up on my Instagram and Facebook.
okay. So you guys go follow him on Instagram and Facebook to keep up with what he's doing. Willis, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for the laughs and keep
Yeah.
making the world laugh. I appreciate you.
Will do.
Let's keep the conversation going by emailing me at katrina@katrinajohnson.online. That's katrina@katrinajohnson.online. So grateful that you joined me on this episode. Remember, information plus inspiration equals transformation. And until next time, stay inspired.